Hi guys, how are you doing? Welcome back to Fisholover issue. Today, I'm going to talk about a few myths surrounding fish farming industry that we always hear about these days. The controversy about eating wild over farm fish will hugely impact the future of aquaculture industry. Media have been bombarded with these issues and influence the consumer without any justified facts. So we as a consumer should be aware of this myth, study the sources and not only spread unnecessary rumors that we find on social media. So without further ado, let's get started. Salmon has been one of the excellent sources of omega-3 fatty acid, undoubtedly. Compared to other fish species, salmon has been #1 choice for omega-3 fatty acid. Omega-3 fatty acid extracted from salmon is dependent on what they eat. While salmon has high omega-3 fatty acid due to their high diet range from algae, plankton, and small fish surrounding them. On the other hand, farm salmon get their doses of omega-3 fatty acids from the pellet feed given to them. This pelleted feed may contain fish oil and other types of plant oil. Many aquaculture producers today limit the amount of fish oil that goes into their fish. The use of plant oils such as canola oil and marine algae oil are emerging due to the presence of omega-3 fatty acid in these ingredients. However, the feed containing canola oil has a shorter chain of omega-3 than the ones in fish oil, which is more beneficial for human health. So to ensure that salmon get sufficient amount of omega-3 and reduce the use of fish oil, feed containing canola oil will be fed to the salmon throughout their lifetime, and fish oil feed will only be fed before the farmers send their fish to the market. So by using this practice, farm fish contain more or less the same amount of omega-3 fatty acid compared to their wild counterpart. Besides canola oil, marine algae oil is highly promoted today as replacement for fish oil. Wild fish that process into fish oil contain high omega-3 fatty acid content due to the presence of EPA and DHA from the marine microalgae that they consume. So using marine algae oil should be a great way to take the pressure off from fish oil while producing highly nutritious sustainable ingredients for aquaculture. Pink flesh salmon is a necessity in the salmon industry. Without this pink fillet, no one will know that salmon they're eating. Would it be appealing if your salmon flesh color is white? I don't think so. Some misconception about the pink color in salmon fillet is the use of dye injection to enhance the color. The fact is, both wild and farm salmon get their pink meat color from what they've eaten, called astaxanthin. The wild salmon will consume more crustaceans, algae, and seaweed as their natural astaxanthin produces. So, similar to omega-3, astaxanthin also were obtained from algae, for example, spirulina, Haematococcus, and Dunaliella. Farm salmon has been supplied with feed that contains carotenoid pigments containing chemically synthesized astaxanthin from many sources similar to what the wild salmon have eaten. So obviously this carotenoid pigment is not dye though. Either way, the same source of astaxanthin is included in both diets of farm and wild salmon, making them pink as we've seen them today. This claim about farm tilapia is widely circulated over the internet a few years ago. The unfounded facts indicated that tilapia contains high level of omega-6 fatty acid and low omega-3, making it worse than bacon. In reality, the nutrient level of fish is based on what they consume, as I've said earlier. Although tilapia has lower omega-3 fatty acid than salmon, it is comparable to both cod and catfish. It is true that tilapia has higher ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acid with the ratio of 4 to 3, but the amount of omega-6 is too low to be an issue, which is 0.5 gram per serving. In fact, this amount is lower than other healthy sources such as nuts and seeds, and more junk foods such as chips, cookies, and fries. So the issues with bacon appeared when it is fried. The greasy bacon may contain a whopping ratio of 10 to 1 of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acid. So clearly it is unjustified to compare tilapia to bacon, as essentially tilapia is less inflammatory than bacon. What is dioxin? A dioxin is a group of contaminants which get carried away into the water through the land contamination. So if we think thoroughly, how could only tilapia be affected with dioxin if there are many other fish living in the water? So dioxin will affect every organism in the water, not only tilapia. In reality, the presence of dioxin appears to be observed in wild-caught fish as well as farm fish. There are tilapia cultured in recirculation system or aquaponic system, which are more healthier and not exposed to any harmful contaminant. So this claim that all tilapia contain dioxin must be fabricated. As far as dioxin is concerned, a study from National Institute of Nutrition and Seafood Research, NIFAS, reported that a higher concentration of dioxin in wild salmon was observed than farm salmon. The same findings also apply to other contaminants, including polychlorinated biphenyls or PCB and mercury. Despite this level of contaminants in both wild and farm salmon, the researchers still recommend both fish to the consumer as they are not alarming levels. So generally speaking, this statement might be true 20 years ago. As in today, even for carnivorous fish such as salmon, the highest feed conversion ratio ever recorded is 2 to 1. 2 kilos of wild fish to produce 1 kilos of farm salmon. But that was unlikely to occur now. Many major salmon producers are able to produce less FCR level at 1 to 1. That was so much lower than beef and swine with 6 to 1 and 3.5 to 1 respectively. Wild fish caught to feed farm fish is processed into fish meal. The use of fish meal from wild fish in farm fish has been extensively reduced due to the unsustainable factor. Many feed producers already opt for more sustainable ingredients for protein source in aquaculture to replace fish meal from wild-caught fish. However, to get rid of fish meal altogether is impossible. In fact, according to IFFO, the Marine Ingredients Organization, around 35% of fish meal today is produced by using recycled byproducts and waste from fish processing. By removing all fish meal in fish feed would compromise fish health and close the environmentally friendly way of recycling fish waste products. More sustainable sources such as algae, insects, and single-cell organisms are well documented to be great alternative for fish meal. To produce this ingredient today are comparatively much expensive than using fish meal entirely, so we need more time. However, it could take some pressure off the fish meal. With the significant increase in technological advancements in fish feed industry, there are no reason why we shouldn't be able to reduce the cost of production for these ingredients in the future. So guys, that's all the most common myth that I frequently heard about aquaculture that I thought Well, I should talk about this. So, if you happen to know any other myths that I've not stated here, please feel free to share them in the comment section and leave your review about what I've just discussed. So, do you agree with these statements? Yes, no? And if you like this video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. So with that, thank you for watching and see you next time.